Layton in Lake City, Texas, and you're listening to the Juice Box Heroes. And trust me, they aren't your local experts.
What is up? You are listening to the Juice Box Heroes. I am one of your hosts, PK. I am joined with my dude, my best friend, and we all know and love him as Mauricio Dubon's #1 fan, Chris. What's going on, brother?
Man, one of these days that name tag is going to get officially dropped, but I guess I have to live with it until now.
I think it's a great name. I think you should roll with it.
I mean, right now, things at Casa de Chris are pretty crazy. Right now I'm playing Super Dad, so, mom and, daughter are out for her 18th. So I've got both the boys running around, doing all that, trying to work. We had our big bounce back game on last Friday. We came, we saw, we got rained out. So we'll have to, on top of that, our head coach is out on vacation for spring break. So I will officially get the lineup card for Monday and Tuesday's game. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm also running practice this weekend and on Thursday. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Well, look, the house is still standing. The kids are still alive. I'd say so far you're winning.
For now.
So what we got on tap, man?
So wanted to go ahead and get into where you guys could find us. So
I like it.
And all this other craziness that's going on. Again, we started out on Spotify, and I want to say, again, quick thank you to we are up to 19 now. Last week we were at 13. Now we're pushing for the big 20.
Hey.
So you can definitely find us on Spotify. You can find us on Amazon Music. Now we've also we've upgraded as well to Apple Podcasts. We have a Facebook page, and as of this morning, we now have an Instagram page. So now we are getting our tentacles into everything, and also page. So there's multiple avenues. If you guys are interested and you may not have Spotify, there's definitely ways to come out and listen to the two guys talk about the Astros on a weekly basis. So yeah. So again, thank you for anybody that takes the time to listen. Anybody that reaches out to us on the Facebook page. I know I posted out a couple days ago. If you have any questions that you want us to try to take a stab at answering, let us know. We had a couple guys. We will get to that. So outside of that, man, like I said, just like last week, man, we are in the slow dog days of spring training. So not a whole lot is going on, but we are 1 week closer to opening day. So
yes, we are.
There's always that. So, PK, hit us with some things that are going around spring training in Astroland.
Well, let's see. Looks like Framber is changing up his use of PitchCon. His last outing that he was using the PitchCom, and didn't look very good with it. I think he gets probably more focused on what pitch I'm going to pitch and trying to think about situations and messing with the right buttons on the damn thing. And, if any of y'all know and follow Framber, the guy sees a lot of squirrels while he's on the mound. So I think if you give him more, more responsibility in calling his own pitches, I think he just kind of loses focus on what he's trying to do. So, he had his outing with the PitchCom, didn't go very well. And this last outing, I'll just give you the stats. So he had 3 runs over 1 1/3 innings with his PitchCom, right? This last outing that he had, a spotter came in and just said, "Hey, look, we're going to take the PitchCom away. Yanger's he's gonna call the game, and you just focus on making the pitches." And I think that's for Framber. That's exactly what he needs to focus on, is just make the pitches. Let the catcher call the balls or call the pitches, and not let Framber have to worry about it, because he can solely focus on just making this good pitch, in the right count, not to worry about anything else. And he goes out there and has a great outing. Has a great outing for not using PitchCom. He can just focus on the at bats and the pitches he needs to make. Because last year when I was watching him a lot last year, he seemed to fall in love with his sinker a lot, right? And he just even on games where he wasn't getting that pitch over or getting the batters to chase, he just fell in love with it and just wanted to keep throwing it and wanted to keep throwing it. And when it's not a good enough pitch and when it doesn't stay in the zone long enough to make the batter think that it's going to be or that it is a strike, then you've lost your edge on that pitch, and then the batters aren't going to chase, and before you know it, you're 3-1 counts all the time, 3-0 counts all the time, right? So now your pitches are going up, your pitch count's going up, and then you don't get to go deep into the game, and so and with Fromber, he has to be super focused. He went and got that sports psychiatrist, a couple seasons ago, and helped him with his focus and his emotions on the field. And look at the results that he was having just from that. And so I think if he continues to let just the catcher call his pitches, that way he just focuses on, hey man, I got to throw this curveball here in this count. Like I don't have to worry about anything else other than what the catcher's calling for me to throw. I think it's going to be a great season for him. And this is old school baseball, man. Let the catcher call the balls and strikes.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the things that you kind of have to think about too. It's like for a pitcher who, and I use this term, I guess there's no easy way to kind of say it. For a pitcher who is, I don't want to call him mentally weak, but definitely, like I said, you said that he's, we all know in 2022 he had a sports psychologist for the mental aspect of the game. So it's just kind of baffling to add more to his plate as far as him calling his own pitches. And like you said, I'm an old school catcher. I used to play catcher. Let the catcher call the pitches and leave it at that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's going to be great for him. I think it's really going to be great for him. And I got to watch one of the little videos. I watched his March 1st outing against I think it was the Tigers. And it's kind of weird to see him without the dreads, man. But he looks good. He looks skinnier. I know we talked about that before, and I know again it's spring training, and so I can't get too excited about it. But the clips that they were showing, the ground balls that he was getting, the strikeouts that he got, like he looked like old Fromber, and it looked really good. And it's real. I'm real happy to see it, and I'm hoping that he continues to go.
Yeah, it's definitely a good sign. Good start. I mean, from what I could tell, he was the only one that had kind of a hiccup when it came to making his start, and now it's good to see that he's righted, whatever, and maybe it was just him taking too much on his plate on the mound. So, like I said, it's good to see him turn it around. It's definitely a good sign. Hopefully, 2022 Fromber's back, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. So, got a few injury updates here recently. Yeah. So we just kind of go over that. Looks like JP France is getting close to making his spring debut.
Nice.
He threw a couple innings on Monday in a minor league game. Excuse me. And then he could make his first spring start this weekend. So that is definitely some good news, especially when, we're about 2 weeks out from opening day. It's still seeing that JP France is about 10 days behind schedule. So thankfully he's not one of the top starters, but, get him in this weekend, get some pitches in, work out some of the soreness when it's done. And, he's going to be a pretty big asset in the later half of that rotation.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's good to see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel for him making his spring debut. So, I mean, again, he'll be another arm that'll be needed for this season. So it's good to see him making his way back.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we got Verlander. As we all know, he is starting the season on the injured list because he showed up to camp 2 weeks behind schedule with his shoulder issue, which limited him in throwing his bullpen sessions. Looks like he was scheduled to throw a bullpen session today, or a Wednesday, sorry. And then, they'll just keep increasing his pitch count during his bullpen sessions. and then of course they're going to reevaluate his situation. So, like I said, he did when he got to camp. He was 2 weeks behind schedule because of the shoulder. But like we mentioned before, his time for recovery or his time back from the IL is going to be in April. So it's not, as long as everything progresses the way that everyone hopes it does, maybe a couple starts he's going to miss. So, but it looks like Justin is trending in the right direction, and that is always a good sign when you get that guy back.
Absolutely. So, I mean, he's JV. He's the bulldog. He's the anchor of the rotation. He's the veteran that everyone looks to. I mean, so, we'll see him the second week of the season probably.
Yeah, we need him back, but we need him back when he's ready to go, right? Don't come out here and tease us with a good start or two and go back down. Like, just in my opinion, really just kind of don't come back until you're, till you feel good and ready to, till you feel like your shoulder is not giving you any issues, and let these guys that we have currently, just kind of hold down the fort until you come back healthy. But the quicker the better. Looking forward to another season with him, man. It's gonna be freaking great. We talked about, we had some guys that were optioned down to AAA. Spencer Arrighetti, of course, was reassigned to minor league camp. Forrest Whitley, Mr. Middleton, shockingly was optioned to AAA this week. So, that poor guy. I don't even know what else to say about that guy, but. Yeah, he's down in AAA, so we'll see what the future holds for that guy. He just can't stay healthy, and it's terrible. It sucks. The guy's never really been able to get a real chance solely because he's hurt all the freaking time. But he's been down. Lance McCullers started throwing off some flat ground during the spring training. Obviously, he hasn't pitched since 2023 following his surgery, but it looks like sometime mid-season this year. Hopefully, we'll see some McCullers action. That's another thing too. That guy, it's just, when he was healthy, was so clutch for us, and it's just, it had the injury bug, and the injuries that just they're devastating for him. And we all like Lance McCullers. We all like, like we like him, right? But there's so many arm issues, man. It's really crappy. I hate it for him. So hopefully he comes back, throw him in the middle relief, let him work his arm strength up to where he can do some spot starts for us. But looking at some point during midseason, hopefully for him to come back to the rotation.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm with you. I like Lance McCullers, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
Yeah. I think I've held my breath for 2 years now, and I'm running out.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably not very healthy, but Forrest Whitley, that's another one. Since pretty much episode 1, I've been pretty high on this kid, and one of the questions that we were asked is, how long are the Astros? This came from Charles. How long are the Astros going to let this thing roll with Forrest Whitley? And I'm assuming that, I don't want to say they're all in, but I think he's in a situation where once he gets healthy, whenever that is, I mean, because it seems like he's another one that's always has some type of issue.
Yeah,
they're going to be all in with him as far as earning a bullpen spot. I think that's a smart move. I think his days of being a starter, are pretty much done. I would assume, which is dangerous, that when he starts the season out in Sugarland, he's probably going to come out of the bullpen, and again, hopefully he puts it together. I mean, we've seen a handful of not position players, but starting pitchers from other teams make the transition from starter to reliever, and it's worked out. It's revitalized their career. Hopefully this is another example of that. We'll talk about this in maybe 2 years from now and be like, man, what a smart move it was to move him to the bullpen. But until then, it's always a question mark as far as what can he do, because like Lance, he's consistently holding down the injured list. Sorry.
Yeah, no, he's set up camp there. He's got the long ass driveway with that's his name, and it sucks, man. It sucks because when he's good, he's really freaking good, and he falls in love with that curveball, and you put so much strain. I mean, there's already enough strain on these guys' arms just by throwing every day, right? And you keep having the same issues with the same arm. I mean, hopefully, you don't get to the point where you're actually done, right? I mean, I really like the bullpen option or the bullpen thought for him. He comes out and gives you a couple innings, and you get to keep him all year. Hopefully you get to have him all year fresh, right? And he doesn't have to, go out there like a starter like he has been and give you all those innings, and you can save him, keep him in the bullpen, or make him earn his way back to a starting rotation instead of just giving it to him. Hey, prove that you can stay healthy, right? Now that you stayed healthy, let's be efficient out on the mound, right? Low amount of pitches, let's get outs, let's get the strikeouts, and then we start increasing your pitch count if they're going, which I'm sure they're going to put a limit on, regardless of whenever the guy comes back. I mean, they have to. They've got to limit his pitch count, until his arm gets strong enough to give him more pitches to hopefully put him back in rotation at some point. But I like the bullpen move. I think that's probably where he needs to be now, just given the arm situation.
Well, I agree. I mean, I think the bullpen move for McCullers is pretty much the only move that's left to make.
Yeah.
Because that'll give him time. And again, I don't know everything as far as the prep for each game, but I'm assuming that when he's scheduled to start, I mean, you're probably throwing 120 pitches to warm up, and that's even before you step out to the mound to throw to the first guy. And then you're in the bullpen while they're doing warm-ups. You're in there doing the long toss, and then you're in the bullpen doing, maybe another quick 20, 30 pitches. So by the time you even get to the mound, what are we like, 200 pitches thrown or already in the tank, where I would assume that, that shift to the bullpen, you pitch, like you said, maybe an inning or two, and then you get a day off or maybe two, depending on how the starting pitching goes. And then you're only throwing in the bullpen when you're needed.
Well, so in between innings, you're getting what, eight warm-up pitches? Right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And I missed that too. So even in between each inning, you're getting anywhere from 5 to 8 warm-up pitches. And those don't even count towards your pitch count. I mean, exactly. So you're throwing as a starter, like almost close to 300 pitches a night if you make it to 100 pitches during the game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would assume for somebody who's is always having arm issues and stuff like that, having that less taxing schedule is probably going to help out. And I, like I said, if it's me, and it's not me, but I would think everybody that's an Astros fan would say, Lance, thanks for what you did as a starter, but you could be that huge bridge guy that we're going to need from the 6th inning to the big 3-headed monster at the end of the bullpen.
Yep. I like it. Last injury news. Sometimes I forget about this guy because, he was gone so early in the season last year. But, rockabye baby, Luis Garcia. Tommy John surgery beginning of last year. He's likely to return the middle of this season. We'll see. Because he got hurt on May 19th, right? And of course, missed the rest of the season. So that's a year. You got to be, not you don't have to be, but you're typically out at least a year, right? So, if he can come back in, late September, August, somewhere in there, that just bolsters our starting pitching again. He can come out of the pen also and nail down some, long relief for us. So, I'm ready to get him back too, as soon as he's healthy.
Well, yeah. Because what did he have? Tommy John?
He did. Yep.
Yeah. So essentially it's about a year recovery. And then even if you come back, somewhat portion of the season, you're on a very strict pitch count. So essentially we're not going to see any type of remnants of what Garcia was probably until next season. So he'd be another guy you stick in the bullpen, and him and, maybe McCullers can do the piggyback. One guy will start 3 innings, and then the other guy comes in, and then he flip-flop it. But, like I said, I wouldn't expect the Garcia that we've known and come to love from, years past to show up in July. Because I think both of these guys are slated to come back in July, towards the end of July. So I wouldn't expect at least from Garcia to come back and be anything close to what he was. He's still, gonna try to get his timing back, his pitch control back. So that's why I'm saying, throw him in the bullpen, maybe have him and McCullers piggyback, and just expect, I wouldn't expect close to what he was probably until next season.
Yeah, hey, look, I think if you get McCullers and or Garcia or both, right, back this year, it's a complete bonus. You know what I mean? It's just a complete bonus to our rotation. I think you kind of, even though they're expected to return midseason or at some point this season, I think you just kind of set your mind for 2025. And then if they come back earlier, then hell yes, we got another arm in the pen for the playoff push. I think you just kind of plan without them, to be honest with you. At least that's kind of what you really have to do is just plan without them. And if they come back, then cool. If they don't, all right, let's go with what we got. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, you can't put all your eggs in the basket, expecting Lance McCullers Jr. to come back. And as far as Garcia, I mean, because like I said, we just covered Garcia. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot to really expect. I mean, I haven't seen one pitcher coming back from Tommy John. He comes back 1 year later, and then he just mows people down that following year just because everybody's so, all MLB is just really cautious with that arm.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like I said, Garcia is kind of a wash. I mean, if he does anything that's, good as far as like his numbers, it's a super huge bonus. McCullers, I mean, that's almost becoming like a fantasy at this point.
It is.
If he comes
It really
back,
is.
if he comes back and his elbow's good, and and he can stop relying on throwing 99% curveballs, then I think you, again, like you said, you're getting 2 trade deadline pieces that you'd have to trade anybody to acquire.
Yep.
So here's to high hopes that in July we'll get Lance McCullers back. Here's to high hopes we get Garcia back. But I agree, you kind of have to plan on them not coming back. And if they come back, then you have 2 assets now that you weren't planning on having, that now you have.
Yep. There you go. Well, let's play a little game, Chris. I want to see what you know here. Okay?
Okay.
Let's project the Astros opening day roster. Okay? I was just reading something earlier today. We hadn't talked about it now, so I'll talk about it now. So when your favorite manager was here, the last few seasons. At least one of our pitchers had a personal, air quotes, personal catcher. Were you aware that Espada is not going to have that happen this time? That there will not be any personal catchers?
Well, I mean, not having a personal catcher would kind of make too much sense. So, I mean, it's nice to know that. I mean, and going back to, the personal catchers from last year, I mean, I kind of get it. I get it. JV, maybe Fromber, those 2 guys use Maldonado. But your younger guys, JP France, Hunter Brown, Urquidy.
I throw the damn ball. That's it. Just throw the ball.
At that point, get them comfortable with Yainer Diaz. He's going to be our starting catcher for multiple years on out. And, so, it's good to know that we don't have to sit here and go through the debacle that we did last year of, why, without, again, not trying to get into another rant of last year. I mean, like I said, it would make more sense last year for maybe Fromber and JV, but then you let the younger guys develop that relationship with Yainer Diaz.
Yeah.
So, but now they get to all develop that relationship with Yainer Diaz, which is shockingly a smart move. But, hey, it only took a year, but we got there.
Hey, baby steps, baby. Baby steps. Okay. 2 more, a little more than 2 weeks until opening day. Right?
Okay.
Getting there. We're so freaking close. I cannot wait, man. Like, I'm so pumped to get this thing started. Okay, so this is going to kind of be like a little joke because it's pretty freaking obvious, but let's just do it anyway. Who are the 2 catchers?
Okay, that would be Diaz, and the backup is Caratini.
Man, dude, you're so good. Our first baseman?
That would be Abreu.
Yep. Okay. Can you guess who our second baseman is going to be on opening day?
Man, I want to put my money on Gray Kessinger, but I think we're going to go with this guy who kind of somewhat proved himself. So I'm going to say it's going to be Altuve.
Man, that's a very good guess. You're correct. You are correct. Shortstop.
That would be Pena.
All right, and who's on third?
I thought who was on first, but
I don't know who's on third. Okay.
Well, I mean, that one's another given. That would be Bregman.
All right. So your three outfielders minus the DH, just your three position players. What you got?
Well, I mean, I would put Tucker in right.
Yep.
We already know Jake
Mr.
Myers
Jake.
is going to be patrolling center field.
Yep.
And I mean, Chaz is going to be left field, which again, I think I know why you did this, because then you already know I'm going to go back to opening day last year where Dusty Baker did not have Chaz McCormick in the starting lineup on opening day, which blows my, again. You do this on purpose. That's what you do. You do this on purpose.
I know, it's so good. Yeah, so of course that you're right. McCormick in left, Myers in center, and Tucker in right. And then of course that allows for our DH to be Alvarez. Except, when Alvarez gets some playing time, which he should only play at home, I feel, just to keep him safe. Alvarez goes to left, McCormick goes to center, Tucker stays in right field because, well, that's where he needs to stay. So, DH Jordan. All right, so let's go into our bench utility.
Ooh.
I've got three guys here.
Okay.
So, I think we all know who the first one you're going to say.
Does Caratini count as a bench utility?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so I really hate you sometimes.
Just say it. Just say it. Say it with your chest.
Well, I'm sure that the backup, one of the utility guys, is going to be Dubon.
A Gold Glove winning Dubon.
Until he shows his true colors.
That's fine. But he has to.
Then I would probably say, this one's a little bit tougher. I mean,
Yeah.
I would assume you. I'm going to go with Singleton as the backup first baseman.
Okay, like it. Yep.
Okay, and then is this other guy an infielder or an outfielder?
I saw him play infield.
Oh, is it Kessinger?
It's Gray Kessinger, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yep, so we got Dubon, right? Mr. Utility, Mr. Versatile player. Can play basically everything, essentially. Gray, middle infielder guy. Singleton, first base, DH, I guess, if you want to put him at DH. I got that Joey Loperfido, that prospect, me and you talked about before. Having a good spring, but so is Corey Julks, right? Corey Julks is having a really good spring. Loperfido is getting a little bit of run from inside about him making the club. But, with Julks also doing well this spring, and our outfield's pretty much stacked, and we've got depth there. It's just going to be hard for those two guys to break the opening day. You know what I mean? Like they're probably going to end up starting, obviously, down in Sugarland. But at least we know we've got some depth, a little bit of depth down there, just kind of waiting for their opportunity.
Well, yes, I agree, but I don't think that the choice is that easy. Mainly because I'm a big fan of Joey Loperfido. The guy can play outfield. He can also play first base. So the way I see it, can this guy come up and do anything or do any worse than Singleton? And again, I've been team John Singleton since they made the trade for him. Back when they made the trade for him, I don't know what year it was. But I think that, I'm really high on this Loperfido kid. I really am. I think he's another guy that can come in. He can play first base. Like I said, he can play the outfield as well. So if Singleton, has shown to be the Singleton that he is, which is, he may have one game where he just completely goes off, and then the next 6 or 7 games we have to put him on the back of a milk carton because he just disappeared.
Yeah, exactly.
Why not take the chance on Loperfido? The only thing I can think of is that Singleton has the inside, maybe because if you set him down, maybe he's out of options.
Man, did you read what I'm looking at? Because that's exactly what it says.
No. I'm
Singleton
just
is out. He is out of options.
Because also too, Singleton's 32 years old.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
and you're hoping for that last ounce of what he could have been.
Anything?
Well, I mean, when the Astros traded for him, he was the top first baseman prospect in all of baseball. So, from what I've seen, he's got a pretty good eye. I mean, but I think he's just one of those guys that in AAA mashes the ball. You call him up, and he'll have that one game that really makes you be like, oh, okay, he's putting it together. Again, another comeback story, a guy you're rooting for. But at the end of the day, you look at the cumulative stats. You have that one fantastic game where he went 5 for 5, and then you might have a game. Then he goes like 1 for 19 after that.
Yeah.
Or 1 for 27 after that. I mean, his biggest contribution to the Astros was really like two things. One, he kind of stole the thunder from JV's return start at home, and then he got that walk that led to the Altuve 3-run home run in I think it was game 5 of the ALCS.
Yeah, that's really honestly that's my only memory of him from last season was getting that walk.
Yeah,
before Altuve came up. So yeah, no, you're right. He's out of options. Left-handed bat off the bench, but he's only can play first base. That's it. You can DH and play first. So, Trey Cabbage. Trey Cabbage is probably going to start down. Looks like he is still doing the striking out a lot thing, but there wasn't really an expectation for him to be on the big boy roster. I don't believe. Coming in, I think if he would have made a splash in the spring, it would have been a nice competition to see what they were going to do. But I think all along it was probably keep him down and get him some more ABs.
Yeah, I mean, these guys would have had to have completely exploded in spring training, going back to Singleton and him not having any options left. I mean, so
yeah.
I mean they would have to look at the. I mean, it would have taken. I don't want to say a miracle, but for them to completely, because that's essentially what happened. They would have put Singleton on waivers. Somebody would have picked him up, probably Pittsburgh or Oakland or somebody who needs a cheap option at first base, but they would have had to have. I mean, obviously, there's something there with Singleton, that they're seeing in spring that we're not getting the opportunity to see. That he is the inside track. He's the inside guy to take over that backup first baseman role. So,
yeah, I don't know what they're seeing, man, because it's just results. You should see results, right? Results should be the key factor, right? If you get up there and you freaking hack, and you're boom or bust, that doesn't help. That don't help us. If we're in a bind in the later innings, then we need base runners. Well, this is not the guy to come up to the plate. This is not the option. So you're right. They do see something in him that we don't, that us non-local experts don't see. So we'll ride it out and see what happens.
That's all we can do.
That's all we can do. All right. Excluding JV, who's on the injury list, who's our starting 5?
Oh man.
No particular order. Just
have they officially ruled out France as as not making the team at a spring? I mean, I would
not
assume
yet.
so. I mean, hasn't even made an appearance yet.
I'll give you this one. So he is in this opening day roster.
Okay.
So you got
my starting 5 in no particular order. Obviously, Fromber. You've got Javier. You've got Urquidy, Hunter Brown, and then I'd give the number 5 spot to Blanco until he shows me, he can't handle a starting spot. Which, like I said, he didn't do terrible last year. I mean, he had a little bit of control issues, but whatever. I think he's earned the number 5. But I'm assuming that with France getting the projected nod, that's going to bump probably Blanco to the bullpen.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you should be Dana Brown's right-hand man. Yeah, I'm telling you. Okay, so we've got 8 relief pitchers, my friend.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, so not including the big 3. So we'll go with the little.
Hang on.
Okay.
Hang on. So technically, Abreu is not part of this list because he's not playing.
Oh, that's right. He's suspended.
The first 2 games of the season.
Whatever. I mean, I don't think he was trying to hit Garcia.
I think, yeah, okay, let's go with that.
Okay, so Abreu is not a part.
Yeah, let's go with that.
All right, so obviously I'm going to go Hader Presley. So that's 2.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Montero's number 3.
Yeah, he's still here. You already called out Blanco, so that's
Blanco's number 4, so I'm 50% there.
Yeah,
After
doing good,
that,
man.
It gets a little murky after that. Souza?
Yeah, I didn't think you were going to get that one.
All right, so Souza's in there. I would assume Dylan Coleman.
I didn't think you were going to get that one either. Yeah.
Okay, Dylan Coleman. So what is that? Where am I at? 6?
That's 6.
Oh, Mushinski.
Yeah, no, he's not on this list.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm reaching now. Dubin?
No, but when I tell you these names, you're gonna palm yourself to the forehead. Like,
okay, hold on. Did they play on the team last year?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Oh man. All right, just hit me with it.
Belak.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, he's also. Let's see. He is also out of options. Also.
Well, yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
I mean, he was up and down all year last year.
I was gonna say Belak. I mean, as much as he's there when you need him, he's a very forgettable name. But that's fine. Who's the last guy?
Last guy is Seth Martinez.
Oh, Seth Martinez. I keep forgetting about him.
I do too, because like he comes up and I just remember him getting shelled, and then I see him at Sugarland when we went and watched the Space Cowboys play. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, he does exist. Okay.
Yeah. So here we go. So we have Hader, Presley, Montero, Dylan Coleman, Ronel Blanco, Bennett Sousa, Belak, and Seth Martinez will be rolled out for the first couple of games until Abreu comes back. So
okay,
that's what we got going on with the little game of guess who's making the opening day roster.
Okay. Well, I mean, not terrible. I mean, you do have a handful of guys that you kind of have to wait and see what they do in the bullpen. So, it is what it is. I mean, not terrible. All right. Well, let's get to our next spot. This one is going to be super duper quick, mainly because, whatever. So last week we started our breakdown. I mean, if you want to call it a breakdown, it's a pretty quick breakdown of the AL divisions that the Astros will be seeing a good chunk of. So this week, the Magic 8 Ball has landed on the American League Central, which
it's the somebody has to win the Central.
Yes, it's who wants to win the Central because really I think there's only 2 teams that are completely eliminated before the season has even started. So we are not going to spend a lot of time on this, mainly because all these teams are not very good. A couple of teams have potentials to be good, but I don't think they're real contenders. It's cool. You guys made the playoffs. You'll make some extra money for playoff tickets, but y'all are going to be out in either the wild card or, the wild card. So,
yeah, you're done.
Yeah. So, going from worst to best, which essentially, I have to say that. So
that's like air quotes.
Yeah. So, who I have finishing bottom dead last in the Central Division. That would be the White Sox, mainly because they're the White Sox. The fact that they haven't traded Dylan Cease by now, they're in full rebuild mode. Whatever. Next. Do you have anything to add?
No. I thought you were going to put Detroit, really. I know they're a little bit on the up, but
I mean, really,
Detroit's
anybody who's bottom 3 can be interchangeable, if you want to be honest.
I mean, yeah, you're right.
All right. The fourth place I have going to KC. I mean, outside of
Bobby Witt
Jr., whatever.
You have anything else? They got that old catcher.
Oh, they do have Salvador Perez. Whatever. Moving on. So, the Detroit Tigers, I have at number 3, who are doing AJ Hinch dirty over there.
Yeah.
I pretty much knew that they were doomed for failure the second they gave Javier Baez that massive contract. He's definitely
he's a bum.
He's making that to be one of the worst investments ever. Again, whatever. You got anything to add? I mean, they do have. I will say this: they do have some good up and coming starter pitchers. Their center fielder Riley Green is pretty good, but whatever.
Yeah, no, nothing about this team other than AJ Hinch. I feel bad for the guy. Still love the guy. You know, if what's his name, Cora can still coach the Red Sox after their thing. Why can't AJ do the thing here? Even though I like Espada, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Moving on.
So, like I said, those three teams can be interchangeable. Don't care. Moving on with my life. All right, so at number 4, or I'm sorry, second place, I have going to the Indians, mainly because
Sorry, it's the Guardians now.
Whatever. They're the Indians, okay? So, I mean, they do have some good pitching between. God, now I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah,
Bieber. I almost called him Justin Bieber. Whatever. Shane Bieber. They have Shane Bieber. They got Tristan McKenzie coming up. They got one of the best closers in baseball, Clase. They on the offensive side, they still have what's his name, Ramirez.
Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, they have Ramirez. They do have a bunch of good players that if we lived in Cleveland and we were Cleveland fans, I would know who they are. Outside of that, that's all I know.
Does Josh Naylor still play on their team?
Yeah, Naylor does play on their team. He was pretty brutal 2 years ago when they actually made the playoffs. But they're another team. If they win the division,
cool for them. That's what it is.
Cool for them. Cleveland rocks. You can play that song, but they're going to be Cleveland out because they won't last too long.
That's correct.
And only because I have to. I mean, but again, I think Minnesota winning. I have them at number 1. Them and Cleveland can be interchangeable. I mean, this whole damn division could be interchangeable for all I care.
I mean, it's hot garbage, man. Like it's like, it's like the AFC South for the Texans. Like someone has to win the division. You know?
Well, I mean, Minnesota and Cleveland are kind of like, I don't even know. Yeah. So, like, I would probably say they're a good team, but they're not on the elite level, right? I'm not saying that if they got into a short series against, I don't even know, let's say Texas, that they couldn't beat them in 3 games. But
look, and you know as well as I know that anything can happen in a 3-game series or a 5-game series. It doesn't. Yeah, you could be a juggernaut and it could be the last place team, and if you catch them right, see the Arizona Diamondbacks, what they did last year.
Yeah.
Like, you can run through these juggernauts and knock them off. But more often than not,
I mean,
you're going to get blown out by the juggernaut.
You got to catch them in the shorter series. That's going to be your best bet. You're not beating, you're not beating any of these elite teams in the 7-game series.
No.
I mean, unless like 3 of their top players get hurt. So, I mean, Minnesota, I mean, even though they've lost a couple of pitchers, I mean, you have Correa, I guess, whatever. He's not the Correa that he was in Houston until the playoffs, but whatever.
It's like a hole in everything with him now.
I'm trying really hard to make it like some of these teams have a chance, but they don't.
No, they don't.
Moving on with life. That's the AL Central. They're real quick. So the other question that we received on our Facebook page came from Michael. And his question was, what are the actual chances of us pulling off a Trevor Bauer signing? Now, I can tell you 2 aspects. What my heart says and what reality says. I can tell you that he just went out there, pitched for, I guess, Team Asia against the Dodgers minor league team, and he was mowing dudes down. Like, he had a really good outing. Really good. So that can only help his cause to get that, get that call. For the Astros, I mean, I think it more has to do with PK touched about last week. The Astros are trying to clean up their image, even though this guy has all the stuff that, clears his name, all this other stuff. I mean, it's just, like, you tried it once with Osuna, even though, in my opinion, Osuna was a completely different scenario. But it didn't help that one executive doing that stupid stuff that got him fired.
Yeah.
But if it's me, I give the guy a shot, man. I mean, you have a guy who's trying to work his way back into baseball. He'll play for the minimum. He'll play for incentives. I mean, that's the guy that you want, not to just regurgitate what I said last week, but I mean, this because he knows that if he messes this up, he's done. So, do I? In my heart, I would love to see it. Is it probably going to happen? I would be shocked if it did happen. So,
Yeah, I'm going to end up echoing what you said, right? So it would be freaking awesome to have Bauer come in and be our fourth pitcher. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Like, just if we were to have him, it would be great. But the circus, the media circus that would be around this guy, especially when he first signs in those first few days, I just don't. Even with all the stuff that he has that exonerates him or clears his name, it's just the fact that it was out there and how ugly it sounded, regardless if it was true or not. Like, perception that goes a long way. Also, even if even if he has the stuff to prove that, hey, this, yada yada yada, this exonerates me. It's just baseball aspect. Hell yes, sign him for the minimum, make him earn his millions and millions and millions of dollars. PR wise, I think it would be a complete nightmare. It would just be a complete nightmare. So I really don't think it would happen. Now, I hope to God I wake up one of these mornings and I get the breaking news thing on my phone, and or Chris texts me in the middle of the night and says, "Dude, we freaking got him." Right? Like, one of the
I was going to say you'll probably hear from me first.
Yeah, yeah. I would love to see that. I just don't think it will happen, man. I just don't think.
Yeah, it sucks, man. I mean, because like I feel like you got a bad rap, and of course we live in a day and age where you're guilty until you're proven innocent. But
And even then, you got to carry a little bit of heat for being innocent after
yeah,
being,
yeah. I mean, you still got to deal with the initial wave
yeah.
of because nowadays everybody's wants to get the story out first, and then when it comes to them being wrong, nobody wants to be the first to say, "Hey, I was wrong." But yeah, I mean, I would love it, but I don't see it happening. I mean, if he does,
It'd be badass, dude. It would be badass.
yeah, I mean, I see another team taking a chance on him. That's what I honestly see.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe someone like the Yankees, now that Garrett Cole's getting his elbow looked at. I mean, because you never know. I mean, that could be Tommy John. He could be out for the year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would just suck to see someone else go get him for peanuts and then him go out and just ball.
Freaking dominate.
Yeah.
That would be a kick into the, junk for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, but like I said, guys, I mean,
keep sending your questions in. Thanks for the question.
Absolutely.
If y'all have a question about anything Astros related, send it in to our Facebook, YouTube. You can do it on our Spotify. We will take a look at it. We'll respond to it during the next episode, and we'll just keep interacting with you guys. Please remember that whenever you go to the YouTube, to click the subscribe button and and turn on your push notifications on all the platforms that you are following us on, so that when the episode drops, you are one of the first ones to know.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, we are, like, we're already almost on the, like I said, on the Spotify side, we're almost at 20 followers. What? But I mean, like I said, yeah.
What,
I mean,
20 whole followers?
Yeah. I mean, I will definitely take the time to stop out, to stop what I'm doing. If I do get something, a question, usually if I like it, just, it'll probably be on the episode, especially now. I mean, with now, things are, even though they seem very slow, things are slowly picking up, and we're just one more episode away before we do our opening day episode. And all I can say is thank God it's almost here.
Hell yes.
So, I mean, with that, I think we're pretty much done here for the day. I mean, again, we'll be following, seeing what's going on. If anything breaking comes up that blows our minds, maybe we'll hop back on and do a quick piece. But, until then, I mean, you guys be good, and we'll see you guys next week. PK, you got anything?
Yeah, don't forget, YouTube at
Oh, yeah,
Juicebox
YouTube.
Heroes, Audible, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can find us.
Apple Music.
Make sure you subscribe, hit the follow button. Make sure you turn your push notifications on so that you know when the new episode drops.
Yeah, and don't forget we're on the IG now.
And we're on the gram and Facebook. And go like our page, send some questions. And thank you all for taking the time to listen to this podcast. We will talk to y'all next time.